Don't get Oscar on though. Oh my goodness. Wait, no. He's a terrible human being. Just I've tried to block him in real life, and it's not worked out yet.
Welcome back to Grapple Theory, and this week we are joined by indie wrestling referee extraordinaire Tom Scarborough. Tom, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. How you doing?
I don't know about extraordinaire, but I'm happy to be here. I'm glad we could finally get this done. I'm sorry it's taken a moment.
No, of course. It's always worth the wait. I appreciate how busy you guys are, all of you. Any in-ring talent, any wrestling talent, like promote everyone. You guys are just ridiculously busy. I say to everyone, I don't know how you do it. Like the schedule you guys put yourselves through, I'm like makes me tired just thinking about it.
Yeah, I think the key is a few pints of Guinness and a couple of hours sleep on top of that as well.
I think that's good advice. Yeah, I think that's just general life advice, right?
Or Guinness Zero as well. If that's the way you go, there's nothing wrong with that as well.
No, see, zero confuses me. Zero alcohol, because so I've never been the biggest drinker, but zero alcohol to me implies that especially with beers and lagers and Guinness stuff like that, because that's a taste that I've never been a huge fan of.
Sure.
So to me, I'm zero means you're drinking it for the taste, and I'm that makes no sense.
Yeah, sure. I guess it's kind of like decaf coffee, right?
Yeah, it's tricky. It's not something that's ever hit me, but yes, I understand. I understand the appeal of it. But no, it's great to have you here. We're going to be getting into loads of stuff about your job, your role, some of the just the craziness you get up to in your role again, because we've had guests on before where we always like to pick up the rest, because I feel like I don't know how you feel being a rep, but it feels like wrestler maybe a little underappreciated in the scene for the work you guys do, for the fact that you're still such a big part of every single match. And if I'm honest, mate, you yourself, you throw yourself into every match so wholeheartedly, and it feels like you just love being in that ring.
I appreciate that. And I think saying that wrestlers are underappreciated is almost a compliment, because it's our job to kind of move in the shadows and stay out of the spotlight and kind of only appear when we're meant to be in the spotlight for a pinfall or a submission check or something, and when we do have to get involved a little bit more, we kind of try to, trick the audience into kind of not seeing that as well. And so, it's a nut in itself. But yeah, definitely sometimes it feels like the refs are the last to be thought of until there's something to be done, in which case we're the first to be thought of.
Absolutely. And we always start the pod by asking our guests how their year has been. And for you, I see no reason why it should be any different. So how has this year been, both in and out the ring for Tom Scarborough? How have you found the last sort of 12 months or so?
Yeah, sure. So do you know what? The last 12 months is absolutely flown by. I spent both, the majority of this September in the United States and last September in the United States as well. So just as I was flying home a few weeks ago from Orlando, I was kind of like, wow, this year has gone so super quick. What have I done? And I sat there and had a long time to think about it. And I sat there and I thought about all the great things I've managed to do this year. Obviously, at the back end of last year, we had the Impact UK tour, which was super cool to be a part of. It was really cool working. It really felt like, obviously I don't know the ins and outs of what's happened there, but it really felt like Scott D'Amore had a super tight knit family there at the time. And that was super cool to be involved with them on their dates that was the first one. The last two were in Coventry. So the first one was in Edinburgh. Yeah. I missed the date in Newcastle because I was with OTT, referee John Moxley versus Trent Seven, which was just a wonderfully an incredible moment to be part of and really have the best seat in the house of that. And then the day after that, we were in Coventry with Impact again. So it was a bit of a whirlwind weekend, but super incredible. Fast forward through all, I think Progress has had a really strong year. I'm sure we'll get into it later, but I feel like these last 4 shows of the year are certainly going to be really, really stacked, which is awesome. Progress is climbing its way back into the upper realms of the promotions in the UK and Europe again, and the world for that matter. Most recently, being involved with the Noah UK tour was super, super special. That was really cool because it was really, we kind of had 3 days for the British talent to really kind of hang out with each other and spend some time together on the buses and in the hotels and whatnot. Normally we don't have a lot of time to do that. It's kind of do the show and get out. Maybe we'll have time to hang out a little bit after the show, but to have 3 full days together, it was super special and a really nice time to all gel together.
Yeah, for sure. You've definitely been busy. I was going to say a couple of recent guests as well have been speaking about the hecticness of All In Weekend. And I know obviously that was a hectic time for you, but again, like it's just hectic time for everyone. And like again, it's just a mad few days to be part of. Like even as a fan, it's knackering. I don't know how it feels like when you're working, but like
Yeah, I was pretty tired. I did actually over that weekend kind of sacrifice a little bit of social time to get some Z's in and catch some Z's. Do you know what? I even have to take a moment to think what we did that weekend because it was all such a bloody blur.
The thing that sticks in my mind, we'll get to straight because again, like you're wearing the shirt. I think this will come out sort of like just before the next show. But Pro Wrestling Ceasefire, that was as far as debut shows go. I think that was a pretty special one that Mamo and Gio put on, wasn't it? That was pretty insane.
Yeah, it's really incredible, and it's let myself from the off. It's super cool to have Gio back involved, professionally wrestling and kind of writing these weird and wacky shows. I don't want to cause offense, but I don't think the show had any right being that good. It was unbelievable. It was a 4-match card on a Thursday night in whereabouts even in London was it? And it absolutely tore the house down. I think Kanji and Jordan Breaks straight away had a contender for match of the entire weekend.
Yeah, I said to a few people, I said apart from Danielson Strickland and apart from Copperbox, that was probably my match of the weekend.
Absolutely, on a Thursday night, it had no right being there. It was so wonderful. Obviously there was all sorts of shenanigans that happened in the tag team main event
involving you.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. Maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe I got a bit too excited, and maybe the talent got a bit too excited as well. But on top of everything, it was for a great cause as well, which is the most wonderful thing. And we're there back again next Thursday. Just before this comes out, right? So it'll be Thursday the 7th in London. You get Kanji Breaks too. Livy Grace taking on Connor Mills. Connor was obviously hurt last time, so we missed that match. But that's 2 Stormers straight away. There's also a 4 corners tag, which I'm sure there'll be no shenanigans. It'll be called straight down the middle.
I was gonna say, are you like maybe you don't know, but if you're reffing that as well, you need you're out for revenge from Sunshine Machine and Saeed and Samuels as well, aren't you? Like really?
I'm a fair and impartial professional wrestling referee. I will be calling it straight down the middle. The other
side. I mean, for anyone listening who wasn't there, who isn't aware, we've got to relive that again. Like just crazy match. Like speaking to TK and Mambo about it as well. Like just a while, I said to them as well. I was like, how do you follow Breaks Kanji? And they were like, I was like, was it like, did you switch at all at any point because of that match? It was like, no, it was always going to be silly, but they were glad it was silly once they saw how good that was because they were like, there's no way we can have a straight match.
Yeah, and I think with the crowd reaction and how everything went down, it was even sillier than expected.
Yeah.
I can handle myself being taken out. It happens every so often. I'm sure you've been at shows where you've seen me take a hit and I've been in the wrong place at the wrong time. But once you mess with my team, Martin and Oscar, if you're messing with them, then I'm gonna have a problem with you. So I'm gonna keep those boys in line on next Thursday.
You're like the protective dad.
That's it. I'm the head of the British Wrestling Referees Union.
the head of the table.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
The other head of the table is Roman Reigns, and then you.
That's it. I'm at the other end. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a very, very long table.
No, it's a very long table.
It kind of slopes downwards quite extensively before you get down to me.
Yeah, it's one of those ones like at Wembley Stadium. It'll go like across the pitch and then out through the concourse, round like up the floors.
That's it. I'd probably even go further than that. I'm probably halfway down the Met line from Wembley Park. I'm probably somewhere. I'm probably Harrow on the Hill.
That is a long table. That is a very long table. I tell you what, I'm like, obviously it's never gonna happen, but I'm genuinely curious, like how many wrestlers that would fill. Like if you had a table that long, how many wrestlers could be seated at it?
Do you know what? So during the TNA weekend, the tour, we were lucky enough to myself and Rich Swift were involved with the gut check that they put on.
Yeah. And
so in Coventry, we got to watch this gut check. And I'll be honest, I didn't know 80% of the wrestlers. And it just goes to show kind of, what we kind of do, stick to our bubbles a little bit. And my point is they could probably all fill the table from Wembley Stadium to Harrow on the Hill Met Station.
Yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because I never really thought about it that much until you say it. But like, it does seem like sort of like you see certain refs at certain promotions, they sort of stick to those promotions and that's where you know them from. And like, maybe like you guys as refs don't branch out as much as say wrestlers do or wrestlers want to necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you think about a wrestler, that they're brought in to fulfill a role or a job or a storyline, whereas us as referees, it's sort of the opposite. We're there to fulfill, the same job again and again and again and again and again, and so that's kind of, you'll see a lot of promotions, they'll have referees and they will stick to using those referees.
Yeah, but sometimes you get to, again, like going back to 65, sometimes you get to be involved in a little different way, and like, especially with you, mate, it seems like every time you take a bump, like you sell the fuck out of it. It feels like you love it. It feels like you just love the part where you get to like be involved in that way and take a hit and really sell it.
I don't know about that too much. I think if it's for a good cause, I'll do whatever it takes. But as my job as a referee, it's to move in the shadows, and I'm quite happy doing that. I would have been a wrestler if I wanted the limelight that bad.
I mean, you have to do. I mean, on a tangent, you've been a wrestler though, haven't you? For one match, as far as I'm aware, unless it's more.
One night only. Yeah, that's it. Myself and Tate Mayfair's, and I don't know if we'll get onto that later, but there's a few stories from that match as well.
Well, in that case, we're going to have to get onto that later, aren't we? But like going back to the bumps, like again, like for anyone who doesn't know, like you took a few bumps in that Sunshine Machine side Samuels match at Ceasefire, their debut show. You took a few bumps there. But the first one you took, you were out the ring. I remember because I was standing right there. You were out the ring. You were getting seen to by the medic, a very legit injury, of course, tying up your arm. And then you were crawling around the floor, untying people's shoelaces, which I also know because I was one of the shoelaces you untied.
Look, I can tell you about that. My arm was hurting, my shoulder was hurting. The medic was in my face. I was a bit dizzy. I was, a bit discombobulated. So, I don't know. I'm not too sure what's happened there.
And you still got in the ring and finished the match, though, despite all that.
I did. I came round to my senses. I shook it off and managed to finish the match. And, we kicked off the weekend in a fantastic way.
So, for you, in terms of your story, in terms of like Tom Scarborough getting into wrestling, was it always refereeing that you wanted to do, or was there a chance of that? Could we have had more than one Tom Scarborough match? Is what I'm saying. Or was it line?
Man, I don't know. I think if you look back too much and say, oh man, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, you'll never be happy. So, there was a quote that I read not long ago, which was, it wasn't make the right decision, make the decision right. So whatever you end up choosing, that's you run with that. I absolutely love refereeing, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I enjoyed having that one match, but it's not something I would want to pursue. No, I value my body too much and my mind.
You've disappointed so many people with that being just a one match only now. That's like,
hey, if something happens again, it means we'll sell more tickets and we'll make a lot of money. It will be a good headline bout.
I'm tell you what, I'm gonna send this to Gio and Amanda afterwards for the next Ceasefire show. We're gonna get some sort of match.
We'll see about that. Yeah, watch the space. I'm sure.
But I mean, in terms of that, like, because you mentioned like sort of being in the ring and in that moment and everything, but like, do you ever get like distracted like a fan? Do you ever like sort of lose yourself in a match where you have to sort of come back to yourself? You're like, oh shit, like I'm here. I've got to be like, or are you like pretty laser focused?
Yeah, I think there's sometimes, especially on entrances, I can get taken out of the moment just by saying, wow, look how cool this is. I've been lucky enough to. I think, the craziest kind of moment I had personally to myself was refereeing the opening match of a takeover event. It was NXT. It was the second one in Cardiff. It was Cardiff, yeah, takeover Cardiff. And I was in the ring with Andy Shepherd, the host, when we went live on the network, and the lights came up and the crowd went wild. And I get goosebumps thinking about it now. It was fantastic, and out came Noam Dar, and it was such a cool moment. Yeah, like I was saying, especially on entrances, when Moxley made his entrance OTT, that was super fantastic moment. There's various ones I can't think off the top of my head right now. But I think, once I'm there in the match, got to be a professional. Whilst it's my role to be a referee, my actual role is, to look after these talent and to make sure everything's okay. And so, if I kind of hesitate for a moment or just get distracted for a moment, I miss something could go horribly wrong. I read that Howard Webb, the football referee, he used to have like a hairband on his wrist, and he would have to snap it every so often to keep him involved with that. Maybe I need something like that. I don't know, but
I was gonna say it seems like you're pretty focused as it is, but like I like, again, this is why I'm not a wrestling referee, but I feel like I get this, like if there was a wrestling clinic taking part in front of me, I feel like for a moment I might be like, oh, this is amazing, and then I have to be like, oh wait, I've got to.
Absolutely. I really try and soak everything in, between, before and after the bell. But once I'm in that moment, I just try my hardest to zone in and to stay with the talent and to keep up with the match.
Do you have favorite matches though? Like wrestlers do. Do you have matches that you've been in like as a ref where you're like, that was amazing? That was a moment.
I'll be honest, not a lot of matches stick out because I'm so kind of engaged with it at the time. They kind of almost all, are a bit of a blur once it's happened. I've refereed, near to 2,000 matches now. So that, there's been a lot. I feel like for me, it's more about the moments, so being in that ring at the start of the takeover event, counting the three when Pretty Deadly won the NXT UK tag team titles, which are two guys I've been friends with for a very long time. All stuff like that. Refereeing at Hustle when Sid Scala had his first retirement, his wrestling retirement, was a super, cool moment to be involved with. I had, a few years ago in 2020, just before lockdown, I was in Qatar, and I refereed Rey Mysterio in a 4-way, which was super cool to be involved with. The match itself, maybe not the best, but to be in the ring with someone who I actually have an action figure of the same gear he was wearing that night, which is super, super cool to have. Yeah.
That's a surreal moment. That's one of those ones I imagine that's.
I feel like I'm just name dropping a little bit though. I hope
that's cool.
I'm watching.
No, that's cool. I like that. And again, there's those surreal pinch yourself moments, aren't they? Where you're like, okay, again, because with anyone involved in wrestling, the stuff you put, you guys go through, the travel you have to do, the workload it takes. I imagine those are the moments where you're like, it's worth all that grind.
Yeah, absolutely. I quite enjoy the traveling. I don't mind jumping on a flight, and if I'm heading to Ireland, which I'm doing this weekend for OTT's 10th anniversary, or it'll be just gone on once this comes out. I was involved with Lucha Libre Barcelona for a long time. I quite enjoy the travel, and I get to say, hey, I'm going to work. I get paid to be involved with the show and to work with my friends and to entertain a group of people, which is super fun.
Yeah, I love that. And that brings us nicely into the first little feature that we've got here on the show. And this is, again, it's all wrestling related. It's it is exactly wrestling related, of course but it's called the matches that shaped my life. And so I'm gonna give you some sort of match scenarios, and I want you to let me know what comes to mind.
Matches that shaped my life. Okay, whatever comes to mind.
Yeah. So the first one is what is the first match you remember watching? Okay,
so I was a little bit of a late bloomer, right? So the first thing I can ever remember seeing, I was growing up as a kid. I was always a sports guy. I love football. I love rugby. Wrestling, not so much. Not because I was like, this is pathetic. More just because it just wasn't something I considered, right? And I remember my brother and his friend, they were on the laptop computer at the time, and they would have left to go on and do something, and I would have gone onto the computer. And what came up was a vignette for Randy Orton versus Undertaker at, what was it? Unforgiven. It was the Hell in the Cell match.
Right?
Yeah. And so I was like, oh my God, what is this? This looks absolutely mental. So I would have gone and, I don't know, I guess YouTube or something would have found the match. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane. And then from there, I remember, I think one of the other early matches I remember was watching Paul London and Brian Kendrick do their entrance. They ran to the ring. They did the backflip off the rope into the handshake on the. I was like, this energy is amazing. How do they do this? I couldn't tell you who they wrestled. Maybe at the time, I guess maybe an Eminem or who knows. But yeah, those are kind of the earliest two memories I have of really getting involved in wrestling.
On a tangent, because you mentioned the London Kendrick, it seems like because you mentioned it seems like you really love a wrestling entrance.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, because that's really my time to, enjoy the match enjoy being in the moment before I really have to knuckle in and get to work a little bit. You know what I mean? It's so cool seeing them, how the crowd interact with an entrance or the lights or the pyro. That's my time to really relax just for a moment before get that sweat on in the match. And I guess from a fan's perspective, it's your first chance of seeing a star potentially. So for them, it's such an important bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Music as well. The music as well. When that glass shatters, you know it's Stone Cold. When the Rock's voice comes over, if you're smart, you know exactly what's coming. You know what I mean? Those pops are always electric for the start of those entrances.
So I'm gonna again on a tangent away from the questions before we get back to them. Then I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh no!
Who has the best entrance in British indie wrestling?
In British indie wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a question.
We keep it indie here. We like to keep it indie. So I'm gonna limit you to 3.
Well, you might have to edit some of this because I'm going to be thinking for a second.
See, in my mind, if it helps you, in my mind, I always have 2 automatically.
Okay.
For the drama, it's Car Noir.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For the fun, it's Sunshine Machine.
Yeah, Sunshine. Do you know what? The beach balls are amazing, and they've made them, so iconic. You see a beach ball near a British wrestling show, you know exactly who that's about.
It's my favorite theme as well. Like the theme as well, I think is like the best song in the indies.
Yeah, and it's so cool. And it's so cool seeing so many guys that kind of have their own, like kind of their own unique produced themes now. And they're so good as well. It's not like kind of, WWE in the mids, whatever's, when it was just kind of a random instrumental track or whatever. It's proper fantastic stuff. Yeah, Kara's fantastic entrance. I guess another one that's kind of just as well produced and every single moment is thought out is Charles Crowley's.
Yeah.
Spike's, now he's doing this Vulture character, is very similar in his way.
You got Darius. Darius has a great one. Like,
of course. You know what? No one gets the crowd going like Darius, and he's got a huge. Again, this would have come out after the fact, but on Sunday in Camden for Progress, he's got a huge, Progress Men's Championship match. His momentum's been rolling this year, and he gets the crowd going like no one else. And so, it's going to be a real tight contest between him and Luke. I know both guys are coming in with momentum. Luke's been a dominant champion since he's taken that belt from Lycos. But yeah, those two together, the crowd is going to be electric in the ballroom on Sunday. So I guess once this comes out, we'll know the result when we know, who would have walked out of Camden with the championship.
It's going to be best thing. It's going to be right. You can say it just even before the back. We're going to look back and you're going to go, that was a great match. And it will be.
100%.
Be sure. Well, getting back to the questions, then the next one is it could be the same one that you mentioned before because it's the match that made me a wrestling fan.
Whoa. The match that made me a wrestling fan. Shall I go with the one that made me a British wrestling fan?
No, you can go anything for this. Like for these ones, we're talking like everything, but like I wanted to put you on the spot there for the entrances, but for these answers, you can give anything as an answer.
Match that made me a wrestling fan. Okay, so I guess like we all do, when we're a bit younger, we have this wonderful obsession with wrestling, and then we fall out a bit with it because of school or relationships or whatever, right? So I guess the one that kind of got me back into it and got me back in for life, to quote Hulk Hogan, was Cena and Punk from Money in the Bank 2011.
Yeah,
I think it's probably my favorite match of all time, and probably maybe not necessarily the one that made me a wrestling fan, but the one that got me back in and got me back in for good. The story incredible, all the moments in the match so incredible. When Punk blew the kiss and the barrier and got out of there, and it was kind of just before that explosion of social media when there wasn't really, the dirt sheets weren't as quick as to get information out, and so we really no one really knew what was going on.
Yeah, I love that. And again, like those moments are ones where, and again, like I'm sure like even like yourself and like I as a fan have it now where we're around so much wrestling that I think you can become a little jaded by wrestling. And like,
yeah, 100%.
So much, right? So much. But like, it's moments like that where you just like, it reminds you, this is why I love the thing I love. Like, these are the moments that you do it for, because like, yes, we can be jaded a lot of the time, but that one special moment hits and you're like, wow.
Yeah, 100%. And and I feel like the beauty of that is that one special moment could happen on any show at any time, any place. You know what I mean? Which means there are going to be special moments time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. The next one on this list is the first live event I ever went to.
Oh, I believe it was a SmackDown taping at the O2.
No.
Do you know what? I couldn't tell you. The main event would have been, it was a 6-man. Cody Rhodes was involved back when, way before, even
Stardust.
yeah, no, before that, I think he might have been even before Dashing. Maybe he was Dashing, but Cody was there. Sheamus was on the babyface team. Maybe Ryback, maybe Big Show. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely a SmackDown. Definitely a SmackDown taping at the O2.
Nice. That's a good show. There's like house shows, like the tapings are cool. The house shows, I think, are like the ones that are like, again, have more like indie vibe, don't they? The how like the big stars are the ones that like if you're an indie fan, you're like, that's the one. I think the tapings are really weird. Like it's weird going for a taping now because it's so staggered. You're like, what is this?
Yeah, and and that's when it comes down to they're making a show for the millions watching at home rather than the thousands in attendance. And but you get to see a live TV production, which is cool. But those house shows are really where you get to interact and really and the talent, you can see it. The talent have some fun as well.
Yeah, for sure. The next one was this is a tough one. We have a lot of people like struggle to remember this one. It's the first bit of wrestling merch I ever owned.
Oh man.
We'll say like figures count as merch in this.
Okay. I reckon it was probably a Randy Orton RKO t-shirt.
Nice.
I reckon. Yeah.
Randy's the one. I feel like more so than like what the Miz is now. Like Randy's the one. Like growing up in that era. If you're growing up in that era as a kid, like you hate Randy, but you don't hate Randy, and it's really confusing because you're like.
Of course.
You're a young fan. You're like, I don't know why. Like, because I want to boo him, but
of course, seen as the greatest of all time. And his two main adversaries at that time were Edge, who you hate, but he was also he was cool. He was a rock star, and you're like, come on, man, you don't need to be like this. And then there was Randy, who was just pure evil, but again, but he was just, he was so suave with it. He had such an aura about him that you were like, man, I hate this guy, but I enjoy hating him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. The next one is the classic. It's my first match. So what was the first match? Do you remember the first match you ref?
Yeah, absolutely. It was January 2013. It was a training show. The first match I refereed, and it was Rob Lynch, formerly of the London Riots, versus Lance Lawrence, formerly of the Whiz Kids.
Wow, that is a throwback.
But like you're like this. So the training show, I ref 2 matches on that. So that was the first one. The second one was the main event of the show, and it was Lord Jonathan Windsor against the brand new IWGP Heavyweight Champion of the World, Zack Sabre Jr.
That's mad.
Yeah. So I'm sure I'll dig it out and send it to you. But there's a photo of me raising Zack's hand. He's a little bit skinnier. I'm a little bit hairier. But that was coming up to 12 years ago. Is that right? My math is right.
Yeah, he's done all right for himself, hasn't he?
He's not done too bad, huh? He's not done too bad.
Is that a weird moment? Seeing moments like that again, where like if that's the first show you're on, and you're like, he was in the first show I'm on, and now he's lifting the IWGP Heavyweight title and having 5-star classics literally every way he wrestles.
That's it, and it's cool. Zack's kind of been really kind of a chapter bookmark throughout my careers. The first show I was on, the last Rev Pro show that I worked on, except for the kind of the tapings we did during COVID, Zack versus Will at York Hall, which was incredible for the British Heavyweight Championship, which is the night I think Will beat Zack for about I can't remember what month or what year that is, but it was the same show that Le Parc was on, which is a very infamous match against who did he wrestle? Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's on YouTube, but that's one you should seek out. It's definitely a highlight of my career.
It's got to be there somewhere. It's got to be there somewhere, right?
Sure, if not on the Rev Pro on demand service.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere for sure. The next one is again this is a 2-parter one. This is my favorite match. So I'm gonna say, like, again, I know you're very like laser close in the ring, but like if you have a favorite match that you've been involved in, and also your favorite match that you've ever watched, like as in let's say one in the ring, one not in the ring.
Wow. Okay. So let's do in the ring. So again, I think it comes back to, rather than maybe necessarily being one of the greatest matches of all time, it's a fantastic moment for myself. This was another takeover. It was Blackpool 2. And it was Kaylee Ray, now Alba Fire, Tony Storm, now Timeless, and Piper Niven, still Piper Niven.
Still Piper was not Piper.
Do shot, Piper Niven again.
Was not Piper Niven. Now he's Piper Niven,
formerly known as Viper.
Yeah,
for the NXT UK Women's Championship, and you know, and being able to do a title match on a live takeover, incredibly special for me. I guess I suppose it's one of the, in terms of, you know, in terms of like how kind of big that match is. That was super special. I think anytime I get to go over to OTT and referee in the National Stadium, the crowds there are just insane. You know, everyone knows the Irish love to party, and the Irish wrestling fans are no different. It's always super special. You know, regardless if you're on first in the National Stadium, if you're on last, if you're on, you know, before or after the interval, it's an incredible place to be. So I say any of those. In terms of progress, I think the matches between Cara Noir and Spike Trivet was so special. The first was the I Quit match.
Yeah.
During Strong Style Weekend, I believe that was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And then they had the cage match as well, which was just unbelievable. And the way that Cara, you know, worked through that, as we know now, with an injury, which kind of was half obvious at the time, but you know, sometimes this talent are stubborn, and you know, and sometimes I have to, you know, let them trust themselves rather than me make the decision for them.
In those moments, are you thinking like, I know that like this should go like maybe like you would maybe do it differently in terms of like stop the match or something, but like they're just so determined, like they're so professional, they want to finish the match.
Yeah, do you know what, I don't want to get too deep into this, but I really think that comes down to, you know, what you have to have as a referee is to be really personable and really have good relationships with all the talent, and understand what makes each talent tick and what each talent need and how each talent act, you know, and kind of individualize your relationship in ring with each talent, rather than just being like, "Hi, I'm a ref, I'm here to ref." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So knowing Cara like I do, I trust that he is fully aware of his capabilities and knows what he can do and what can't do. You know, I was definitely in his ear throughout the whole match, saying, "Hey, talk to me where we're at." But you know, he's one of very few people that I would you know, trust to know their own capabilities. There's been time where I've stopped matches and people have been angry at me, but you know, if they're obviously concussed, or I'm like, "Hey, you just can't continue. You're gonna hurt yourself some more," you know. But Karen was, you know, one of very few people that I trust to listen to and lead through it. Nina Samuels is another one. You know, last week at Riot Cabaret, she, you know, unfortunately sustained an injury during the match with Thunder Rosa. We were communicating throughout the whole time, and you know, she's someone that I have a great relationship with, and I really trust in the ring to know what her own capabilities are.
Yeah, Nina's a great one as well. Like she posted that, and like I messaged her as well to like wish her a speedy recovery. But I said to her, like, she worked at like a pro. Like I would have had no idea she was hurt if she.
No, she's such a professional. I always say, hey, number 1 first round draft pick. You know, the fact that she was kept on after they shut down NXT UK is a criminal. You know, she's one of the best wrestlers in Europe. You know, male, female, gender doesn't matter. She's one of the best wrestlers in Europe. Great promo, great look. You know, in-ring ability, fantastic. She's a fantastic all-rounder.
There's a reason she's got like 50,000 belts, right? Like,
yeah, right.
She's brilliant. Again, like you say, I feel like amazing, like really highly rated and yet still underrated. You know what I mean? Like, she's incredible. Like the work she does and what she's done the last sort of like year or so as well. Like just where she's made it about building up the next generation of talent as well with her matches has been like insane.
And may I say as well, I don't want to peel back the curtain too far, an incredible baker.
Yeah, no, don't worry. That curtain has been well peeled back. Like we are all well aware of how good Nina Samuels is at baking. Like we had this is as well, like I've said this to her before as well, but she's never given me full credit for this. We had her on the podcast. We've had her on the podcast twice, not last year before that, we had her on the podcast. And we were talking about her baking. And I said to her, you should start selling your baking like at shows.
She should.
And then she did.
Money is so good.
She started selling them at Eve, like a couple of months later. And I was like, yes.
See, I'm not involved with Eve as much anymore, but if I was there,
oh, it was great. Like
there'd be a lot of eating and not a lot of.
That was my first experience of it, and like, yeah, it's legit. Like the cookies, the brownies, it's all like incredible.
Have you had a blondie yet? Because the blondie.
I've not had the blondies.
Number 1, she does these blondies with I don't know if it's like cranberry or raspberries, some sort of red fruit in there, and they're just.
Well, there's next time then. Yeah, I've had the cookies I prefer over the brownies. They're both great. The cookies I prefer over the brownies, but I've not tried a blondie, so I have to try one and let you know.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, back off the tangent to the questions. It's all right. I love a tangent here. That's what you'll like. That's what all the podcasts descend into, is just multiple tangents. But the next one is the match that I wish I'd been in, essentially.
Oh man.
Like, is there a match that you would have loved to be the ref in?
Where to start? I guess any WrestleMania contest. Firstly because of WrestleMania. Secondly because of the payday. I guess because of the moment. Man, you know what? I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of former and current WWE talent. A lot of New Japan, AEW, etc., etc. I guess if I had the opportunity to work a Cena match or a Shawn Michaels match or Triple H or Undertaker, to work with the legends will be so special. And I've been lucky enough to talk with former WWE referees about moments in there. People like Scott Armstrong and Mike Chioda and Earl Hebner and Jason Ayres and Sean Bennett and all these wonderful guys that I've had time to talk with about, what's it like being in there with them. And they're the best, they're the pros, the way that these, a lot of these referees talk about working with John Cena is unbelievable. And to be able to experience something like that. Working with Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler at OTT this year, he wrestled Darius, which is fantastic. I had a taste of that because just the I can't really describe it. The way he worked in the ring it's the most, kind of, I feel like he's the biggest professional I've ever been in the ring with. The way he would be, a ring general in the match and doing stuff in the moment and interacting with Darius and myself and the crowd. It's just unbelievable. I can't, really, pinpoint and tell you exactly like what he did. He did this. The experience was super special. Really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's great when you see and hear about like guys like that doing that again, like everywhere they are, not just when they're signed on the big shows and the big moments, but like even when they're doing those sort of shows, like against Reese, who's a great up and comer, who's had an incredible year, but like even like working through that match as such a pro is like, it's such a nice thing to know about them as people, like who they are and like how they act.
Yeah, absolutely. And and earlier that day, it's kind of one of the first times I've seen Darius, a little bit vulnerable and kind of really, he kind of, he's very outgoing, very, loves to interact with the boys, but that's the first time I've kind of seen him where he kind of kept to himself. You could tell he was nervous. You could tell how much this meant to him. And then he really pulled it off. Like it was a great contest. And it was so cool to see, kind of, see a little bit of that vulnerable side and see how much this really does mean to him.
Yeah, big up Darius, love it. King of the meal deal as well. King of the meal deal.
He is, but didn't he say on Twitter that he's quitting the meal deal now?
Yeah, he's past that now. He's past that era now. But
good luck.
Maybe again, who knows what happens in wrestling, right? That era might come back.
Yeah, 100%.
You never know. There's only a couple more. The next one is someone asks you what is professional wrestling. What match or what moment do you show them? Like if you can show them one thing and that's it.
Oh man, I show them Chris Hatch versus Michael Oku from Purpose Wrestling earlier. Was it earlier this year or was it back last year? I can't remember.
Was it last year? I think it might have been last year.
You know what? Since COVID, I haven't got a clue what happened 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago. My perception of time is terrible.
And that was a moment.
Unbelievable.
I don't want to disrespect your match with tape, but that might have topped it.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Chris Hatch is a very loyal servant to British wrestling, and he deserves all his flowers. He's such a wonderful guy, and I've known him for a very long time now. And yeah, I was so happy that entire match, and Mike was wonderful as well.
Can you like as well like big up Chris? Like that's a moment like to be like there are, especially on this current run that Oku has been on, there are very few people that are going to get to say they've been in the ring with like this era Michael Oku.
That's it. And he, he was British heavyweight champion at the time.
He's one of,
yeah, wonderful. And I think Chris has been around since I think he debuted in 2002. So if you have a chance to get Chris on, that's someone that's probably got a hell of a lot of stories and probably a hell of a lot of better stories than I do as well.
No, his stories are great as well, but you're right. We should get Chris on.
Don't get Oscar on though. Oh my goodness. He's a terrible human being. Just
that's a shame. And he always gets such a bad rap as well. Like during matches, people are always shouting Oscar because he's always like missing people's feet on the ropes and stuff. And like,
I don't know about that, but just in real life, I've tried to block him in real life, and it's not worked out yet. He keeps it.
Just so you know, this is the match that's happening at the next Ceasefire show. Is you and Oscar.
Me and Oscar?
That's
No,
the match.
because I would end up hurting him. It would be a shoot. It would be a shoot.
It's going to be the Ceasefire equivalent of Lorna Michael Cole from Mania.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. Oscar. He's too big for me. His limbs are too long. I can't maneuver around him.
You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's
I'm joking. I love Oscar.
I know, but I'm going to be disappointed if this doesn't happen now.
No, I you know what? Yeah. I think we would need it would be like what did Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher do in NXT? Was it a pit fight or something?
Oh, yeah.
It would be a pit fight.
I would love that. Mambo, Gio, we're going to be in your DMs about this.
We might just do it in the car park after Ceasefire or something. You know, we just charge it. It's just bare knuckle me and Oscar, and
like after show, make it seem completely shoot as well. Just like do it without warning. People are walking out and they see you and
it would be a shoot.
Love it.
Even Oscar wouldn't know it's happening
until it happens. Yeah, you got to get the leg up. You can't give him any warning. You got to have the advantage.
Exactly. I need to. He's much more capable than I am, you know.
Amazing. Well, again, we're going to get into our closing feature now before we wrap up, and then I've got a couple of closing questions. But again, you say you've got to have, as a referee, a good relationship with the wrestlers. That might not be the case after this, because this segment is called Dishing the Dirt.
No.
Have you, Tom Scarborough, dish some dirt on the wrestlers and referees and promoters, anyone you work with in professional wrestling, basically. So I'm going to give you some scenarios, and I want you to let me know who comes to mind for each one.
Oh, no.
So the first one is, who's always running late?
He's always running late. Do you know what? Through no fault of his own, it's more of the fault of Lufthansa. It's Axel Tischer. He's always cutting it fine, but that's not his fault. That's the fault of Lufthansa Airways and TfL Public Transport.
No, yes, you're right. Yeah,
They finance it.
Airlines and trains, especially in the UK, are a nightmare. So I will accept that. Yeah, that's a fair. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
We got through that first one.
The next one I always say is better for like the carpools, because this is where you really get to know someone. Is who has the worst music taste?
Oh man, I will say. Sorry, I'm giggling. There's just lots. I'm trying to be politically correct. I will say, annoyingly, Oscar has a really good music taste. So I wouldn't, as much as I want to shoot on him, he's got a lot of music that I would have never listened to if it wasn't for him. I will say maybe GN1 of Hustle Wrestling fame. Yeah, those two are into all sorts of crazy stuff, and my music taste is pretty broad, but those two, and then they'll start like singing or rapping along to it, or speaking along to it, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, boys. And they know it winds up everyone else in the car,
Oh, they're doing it on purpose. Okay.
Well, are they or not? I don't know.
Brilliant. The next one is my favorite, my absolute favorite on the list, and I know you're going to love answering this. Actually, you're going to hate answering this one, and that's why it's going to be great. Who in the locker room would you, under no circumstances, let a family member date?
I think it might be shorter if I list who I would let them date. Who wouldn't I let them date? I will go Elton Prince, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Not going to tell us why.
No. We don't need to go to that. But I'll say Elton Prince. He's a cheeky boy. But has recently become a father as well, so maybe I would now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. The next one is out the ring. Who has the worst dress sense? Who rocks up in something to a show and you're like, what are you wearing?
No one comes to mind, really.
No?
Maybe myself. I don't know. No. Who has a bad dress sense? I'm kind of looking around at kind of some photos on my wall, seeing if I can get any
inspiration.
Yeah.
The answers we get a lot of the answers we get are not bad answers. They're more like Crowley or Gene Money, because like only they can pull off what they wear. Like even outside the ring, like only they could put it off, and like everyone else would look weird in it.
Yeah, of course.
We get Jordan Said a couple of times as well. We've had Jordan Said.
But I appreciate a Hawaiian shirt though. I appreciate loud shirts.
Yeah.
When it's a hot afternoon after a progress show, I sometimes turn into Hawaiian scarves. So I can appreciate Jordan Said's dressing. I don't know, man. Maybe Oscar. He dresses sometimes like a 60-year-old man. He for a man his age, he I don't know. I get worried for his private parts because his jeans are so skinny. I don't know. There's always a flannel shirt. I'm like, brother, you lumberjack, you Mick Foley. Come on, what's going on?
What's happening? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I see most of these wrestlers I see in latex and underwear, so I can't really comment on their dress sense outside.
No, but that's fair. That's fair. And that brings us nicely into the next one, because the next one, we're talking in the ring. Tom Scarborough, you're going to have your second match ever in the ring, but you have any gear. That's a big problem. You have no gear. You've got to borrow someone's gear in the locker room. Whose gear do you look at and you're like, I could pull that off?
Whose gear? Is it okay. I was gonna say, is it about just saying the Legion of Doom's gear, and I could just use those spikes for protection?
No, we're talking. This is dishing again. We're talking people you've been in the locker room with.
Oh man, okay. I adore Trent Seven's long entrance jackets.
Yes, yeah.
Trent's entrance jackets are pretty fine.
Yeah, a lot of that. A lot of the answers are basically based around like the extra attire that you wear to the ring, but you don't actually wrestle in.
Yeah, that's
a lot. It's like the jackets, like the accessories, like those are the things you want.
Yeah. I guess could I also say, could I have the luscious hair of I don't know,
Needy Samuels.
Nah, I couldn't pull off their gear. It's too cool. Maybe I could have Nina's top hat, maybe the little top hat.
I think that'll work.
Yeah, I'd take that. But I need some luscious hair as well. I think I'd take that from. He's got really lovely hair.
Crowley.
I was going blank. Crowley's got nice hair, but I want it to be long and flowing. You know what I mean? Tyler Bate, maybe.
Yeah.
Who else has just got lovely hair? This is got very bizarre.
This is a tough one. What about like the multicolour, like Libby Grace, like dark with like the little grey stripe?
Oh, Libby's got badass hair. Libby's cool. Yeah, she's also just tangent. Is probably the person I've known for longest in British wrestling. I think on my first day of training, I met Libby Grace, who at the time, this was even before she was the infamous Tennessee Honey.
Yeah. Before Tennessee Honey. Oh, that is a throwback.
Yeah.
That is a long time. She's done great as well, Libby.
She's become the first ever pro wrestling Cyprus women's champion.
Yeah.
She's had an awesome year and she fully deserves it. It's been a long time coming, and she's finally found this character that ticks,
Yeah, and leading into against these ways, she's going to have an absolute killer contest with Conor. That could rival Kanji Breaks too for like match of the night there.
Hey, if you're going to have two matches of the night on a Thursday night, that's not bad going.
It's not bad. And we got Medusa Complex in the main event as well. Like Charlie Evans back. Like this is a stacked show.
Yeah. I mean, depending on how the Union feel, we might have to send. I don't know. The three of us might have to avoid that main event that night evening, and we'll send in someone or other.
Someone else.
Steve Linsky or something. I don't know.
Brilliant. The next one is who would throw the best party in the locker room? Who would throw the party you need to be at? You want to be at?
I think the consensus answer is probably Trent Seven.
Yeah. Actually, to be fair, we've had that answer a few times. We've had that answer a few times with people refusing to go into the reasons why, but I'll allow.
Yeah. I always say, I'm gonna try and have an early night, and then it just never happens.
Yeah,
it kind of sucks you in, and that's it. You're done.
Love it. Well, the final one, the date one is my favorite. But this one though is the most important. It's the final on the list. It's who would you want to be your partner in the zombie apocalypse?
Oh my God. Probably Paul Robinson.
Absolute psycho. Yeah.
But would look after you as well.
Oh yeah, but also like you can sort of sit back and let him do the work.
Let him do the battering, and I'll just do the running.
Yeah, just be like, you go. I'm gonna head up.
Yeah. Who actually defends his Progress Championship against Simon Miller. Is the Progress as well. But we'll know the answer to that as well once this is out already. But I think Paul is now. Is he something like the longest reigning kind of overall Progress champion now? In his longest reign.
Yeah.
Which is wild, considering how many wonderful champions we've had over the however many years it is of Progress. 12, 13 is it now, something like that?
It's getting on that. It's getting on that. And that's the thing, like you mentioned it earlier as well. Like I was going to say, because obviously that was the last one I wanted to bring it back to Progress because you mentioned them earlier in the chat as well. And like it seems like you say, it seems like they're on their way back. It seems like, and again, this is no disrespect to any of the talent on the shows or to Lee and Martin, because I've never run a wrestling show. I have no idea what it takes to run a wrestling show. But it seems like, they came out from COVID, they had like a bit of a buzz coming back. And then it's sort of been a bit up and down for them in terms of like the quality of shows, in terms of like just like sort of maybe like some of the booking, some of the like crowd sizes as well. But it seems like you said, the last few shows have been getting better and better. And it feels like they're working their way back up. It feels like they found some consistency back there.
That's it. I mean, if you look at just this weekend coming, Sunday the 27th, which will again be after this is aired. It's the first time we're going to be streaming live on Triller from the ballroom. It's the first time you have an all-female team competing for the tag team championships. Mentioned it before: Luke versus DeReese, Simon Miller versus Paul Robinson. Rio defends her women's championship against Lizzie Evo. That's two of Europe's best female wrestlers there. On top of all of that, you've got Kenta defending the Defy Championship against Cara Noir. So already you've got that stat card there. This is probably the one piece of advice I give to everyone that I talk wrestling with. The industry's a roller coaster, right? You're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs. But would you rather be on the ride or in the queue?
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. I think that's a great way of putting it. Like, you want to be there for the journey, and it's going to have ups and downs. Like, there's going to be highs and lows. And I think Progress have perfectly encapsulated what it's like to have those highs and lows, especially like the last 4 years. But like, they're coming through it, and like they're sticking to it. And like, again, credit to Lee and Martin and to all the people behind the scenes who help book it, who help run it, because like it shows that like that passion is still there, that drive for it to still be the best it can be despite that up and down.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so cool to be involved with them. They've obviously, they've come from a bit of a different angle to what Jim, John and Glenn came with. Obviously they're very much from like an entertainment background, and the three of them are doing wonderful different things right now. And obviously Lee and Martin have come from more of a business background, and so we've kind of picked up more creative minds along the way, and our team's grown and grown and grown. And there's a great team working backstage at Progress now, and especially these last 4 shows of the year. So we've got this Sunday the 27th, and then it's up in Manchester 2 weeks later.
Yeah, again, we talk about like history, like
Qatar against Evans. Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, it's kind of come from nowhere. For a long time, I think, especially being involved with the WWE network, kind of intergender singles wasn't really a done thing with Progress. And obviously we've had mixed gender tag team champions. Charles Crowley and Alexis Falcon won the belts, and now, like I said, we've got an all-female team competing for the belts, and now we have an intergender singles match. I think it's moving with the times. It's moving with kind of the modernity in professional wrestling. And just those two stars alone, Cara Noir and Charlie Evans, neither of them are gonna pull the punches. It's gonna be a hard hitting match.
Yeah. And again, that's the thing is, like, in terms of matches we can look ahead to, like I saw, like I knew as soon as they announced it, like they had an incredible match. Not last time Charlie Evans came over, the time before that when they wrestled at Resurgence. That was an insane match they had, and I was like, well, if you're gonna rerun that match, so like fine. Like, who's gonna complain at that? It's gonna be a great match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I was gonna say as well, like you mentioned like, you mentioned like I want to talk about the experience as well, because obviously as well with Progress, I don't think it's been announced yet, but obviously I'm sure there'll be like unboxing or something at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And I want to get your thoughts on this, because we had LA Taylor on the show, and when I asked her about whose gear she'd want to wear, I can't remember exactly how we got onto this, but there was a random tangent where we decided that unboxing, again, Lee, if you're watching, because we've mentioned this a few times, Lee, unboxing this year, we think it should be LA Taylor, Sky Smithson versus Sunshine Machine, but they switch gear.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't know mechanically how that would all work.
But we establish in like the whose gear would you wear that everything that needs to be covered is covered, like somehow.
Right. Okay. Sure.
In that regard, whatever's covered needs to be covered is covered, but they just switch gear.
Yeah, I think Attack did it many years ago at Press Start when Tyler wore Pete's gear and vice versa for a single match. And obviously, that's so cool seeing that trajectory of those two from wearing each other's gear at an Attack show all the way to like they've been on WrestleMania tagging together, and you know everything that's been along the way, the matches at Takeover, the matches at NXT UK.
Yeah, it's a weird ride, isn't it? Like, again, as a fan, but for you as well, like as somebody who works so closely with them, to like see some of these people, how far they've come and where they are now is really mind blowing.
It's so cool when like you look at photos from like 10, 12 years ago, whenever, how far we've all come, you know, and kind of, it's so cool. I was sat in a car going to a show, I think earlier this year, maybe in the springtime, and I was in the car, and it transpired I was in the car with a bunch of like teenagers, you know what I mean? A bunch of I mean, that sounds terrible, but like 19, 20 years old, you know what I mean?
Especially in British wrestling as well, I bet.
Well, we don't need to get into that, but Oscar, I'm joking. Jesus. The point is, I look back on that and think, hey, that was us 10 years ago. You know, that was, you know, myself riding with Pretty Deadly and Sid Scarlett and all these others. And, you know, look how much we've all individually done in our careers. It's so cool. And I think is it the Ferris Bueller? If you don't stop, you know, well, life moves pretty fast. If you don't, you know, look around once in a while, you know, it's going to pass you by, or something like that.
It's that, yeah. I think it's a great line. It's exactly right, isn't it? It's like appreciating those moments.
Yeah, and you know, and even if you don't appreciate them in the moment because you know you're stressed about the moment or the match or whatever, you know, getting a chance to really reflect, and that's a great thing to do when you know, like I said, the roller coaster, when you're having these lows and you're frustrated about the business, you just stop and you look around at how much you've done. It's so amazing, and not to dampen the mood too much. When unboxing last year, it was obviously, you know, the day after, sadly, we all found out about the passing of Curtis Chapman.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it was a really kind of somber day backstage, and, you know, as essentially it would be. We went to the pub after, and there was the moment, you know, I was stood there kind of in the corner, and every single angle I looked around, there was someone involved in the industry that I loved, or I have, you know, a relationship with, or it was my friends. And it was so cool. Like, you know, not just in one corner, but every single way I looked, there was just, you know, so many people, you know, surrounded by love, and you know, it was such a lovely moment.
Yeah, it's those moments, isn't it? Like, it's those moments that you hate happening, but like they make you stop, don't they? They force you to stop and look around and appreciate what you have, and
you know, through all the bollocks and all the politicking, whatever, it reminds you that, you know, we are kind of one big family. We don't get to see each other maybe all the time, but you know, it is one big family, and we're all, you know, trying to make this industry better together, you know.
Like you say, and like again, like that outpouring of love for Kurt, like when that happened, like it shows that, doesn't it? It shows how close knit, like you say, the wrestling family is, like that so many people were impacted by that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, big love to Kurt, and again, like, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and well, that brings us, like, I know it's like a somber way down, but it brings us in the podcast. We got a couple more questions though that will lift the mood at the end.
Well, all right.
No, you'll like this. This is great because we have a closing feature here on the podcast where our last guest leaves a question for our next guest.
Oh, no.
without any context of who they're going to leave it for. They don't know they've left it for you. You're not allowed to know who left it for you. It's all very random.
Who was the last guest? Right?
I'm not allowed to tell you.
Do I have to go and look it up?
No, because it's not been announced yet.
Oh, man. Okay.
So... this last guest was actually two guests, so they both left you a question. So I'm going to ask you both.
Okay.
I'm deciding whether to go with the more normal one first, and I think I'm going to go with the more normal one first because the second one is, I'm still on the fence about whether I can ask it.
Oh no, okay.
So the first question is, you have to make a cocktail named after yourself. What do you put in it?
Cocktail named after myself?
Yeah.
So has it got to be like things that are to do with my name?
No, I think it, like, it's just called the Tom Scarborough, but it's like, it's what would be you in a cocktail, I guess. Like, what is your personality in a cocktail?
Oh man, what a great question.
The second one's weirder. So
yeah, okay.
enjoy this one while you can.
Okay, well, I'm a big mojito fan. Okay, so maybe we'll use like rum as a base.
Nice.
We kind of live that pirate lifestyle, right? Just
Yeah.
kind of moving through and hoping for the best.
I said I'm not a big drinker, but spice rum is the thing that gets me. I love a spice rum.
Okay. I guess I would put some lime and some mint in it. I can be quite a nice flavor, but if you mess with me, can be a little bit sharp with you, Oscar. What else? What else have I put in it? I guess all kinds of juices. When Hawaiian Scarves is out, it might be a loud shirt, so I'll put some orange juice in it, some lime juice. I'll put some pineapple in it. I have a pineapple tattoo. I don't know if that's a whole other story as well, but I'll put some pineapple juice in it. And I guess can I crack an egg in it? I suppose I don't know.
Man, I'm not sure how that would work. You can't
mix it all up and hope for the best. That's kind of what I've done my whole career. So.
Before you said the egg, I was going to say it's lovely, like tropical, like you sit on the beach with it. The egg thing is a bit, I'm not sure now, but that's fair enough. I like it. But you said the pineapple tattoo is another story. It's not a wrestling story, is it? Though, is it wrestling related?
No, really, no.
Yeah, so if there was a tangent where that had been wrestling related as well, I'd been like, what?
Yeah, no, it's not actually another story in itself. It's very short. I got this pineapple tattoo because I went to this pineapple market and I was like, oh, that's cool. I want a pineapple tattoo. It was only after that I found it's the international symbol for swingers. So that's on my ankle.
Amazing. And now you get weird looks everywhere.
Yes, some are weird looks, but some are kind of looking
across you. Like, hey, how's it going?
Exactly. I'm like, not too bad.
And that is the glamorous life of a wrestling referee, I imagine, right? Like, the money, the groupies, it's all
something like that. I was walking around a Middle Eastern city, maybe in 2015, with another British wrestling referee who I think I've named on this podcast, but I won't name who it is again. They were walking around with a shirt that said "I heart ring rats" in the Middle East.
Well, that's not good. That's it could be a little niche enough, but some people don't know what it like, don't get it. But like the people who get it are going to be like,
yeah. A good story about that day, actually, if we've got time.
Yeah, go on.
We were in Doha, the capital of Qatar, and we had the afternoon off, and there's a sandstorm, and we're like, oh, should we just, being the tourists that we are, should we go out for a walk? In the sandstorm, yeah, come on, let's go out for a walk. So it's myself, this other referee with the t-shirt, British wrestling legend Johnny Storm, current NXT coach Johnny Moss, and Al Snow. So already a wacky cast.
Yeah.
So we're walking out in this sandstorm. The hotel staff are like, "Where are you going? What's going on? Where are you off to?" Like, "Oh yeah, just going for a walk." And they're giving us all these masks and stuff, and they're like, "You're gonna get hurt." We went out there. It was horrible. It was sand, grit all in your face and eyes. We found our way onto this kind of like it was like a deserted beach, but it wasn't sand and stuff. It was kind of on the edge of the bay, and there was kind of gravel and litter and stuff. And we're just kind of looking around, taking some pictures of the sites, stood on this deserted piece of beach. When suddenly this massive Range Rover, this black Land Rover, speeding towards us, screeches up on the beach, and I guess this guy with like an AK-47, and we're like, huh. Right, this isn't going to go well. He goes, it transpired we were on the private beach of the Qatari head of state. I don't really know how that happened because it was like deserted and there was litter and stuff on it. So I guess maybe we were on his land or something. He was like, you have to go. And the other referee with the t-shirt goes up to him and he's like, oh, can we get a selfie, mate? And we're just please put the camera down. Let's just leave. Come on, selfie. Whilst he's holding this AK-47.
That's a ballsy move. It's a ballsy move.
We all live to tell the tale. And it was.
Did you get the selfie? Did he say yes to the selfie?
Yeah, I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I think there's a photo somewhere. I don't know.
Amazing. That is, again, with someone with an AK-47 in there, that's a ballsy move to even ask. Like,
yeah.
Like, fair play.
And then someone asked, how did that guy even spot us? And Al Snow goes, What the hell do you mean? We were 5 white guys walking around the Middle East in the middle of a sandstorm. Someone's got a t-shirt that says "I heart rim rats." The rest of the guys are in tank tops, absolutely jacked to the gills. What do you mean? How did they not see us?
Incredible. Incredible. Well, I thought nothing could top this final question you've been asked, but that might top it. But we'll see, because you might figure out who asked you this question based on it, because it's so random that I can't.
Did they know it was for me or not?
Pardon?
Did they know it was for me? The question?
No, they didn't know it was for you.
Okay.
So I asked them to get it back up because I was like, just in case. But I think you'll be okay answering this one.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
This question is possibly the most weird we've ever had in the whole history of doing this segment.
Okay.
So,
oh no.
I mean, would you rather eat a spoonful of your own, I'm going to say excrement,
Okay.
every day for the rest of your life,
Right.
or have a pint of someone else's just once?
Okay. So let's break this down. Are we talking a teaspoon or a tablespoon?
No, it says spoonful. I'm going to say like a spoon. But I would say, give
Like a massive dessert spoon, like a normal spoon size.
yeah. For one, like a cereal, like what you eat your cereal with.
Right. And can I chase it down with like some juice or some milk?
That's not been stipulated, but like maybe like I can't imagine it'll help much.
Okay, fine. And then just moving on to the other side, what form is the pint taking? Is it quite liquidy, or is it?
I think that might just depend on the person, how they're doing that day. You know, you have different. You know, it's different day to day, isn't it? Depending on how you're feeling. So
Are they a well hydrated person?
Yeah, let's say they're like not the most hydrated, but definitely not dehydrated.
I think I'd go for the pint and just get it done with. Just get it done with. Yeah.
Oh, it's
absolutely revolting question either side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say you don't have to drink it like a pint. You could eat it like a sundae, but it's a pint's worth.
I think I would just try and chug it. You know, just get it done. Just get it out of the way. Don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
God,
you know.
Yeah. See, I the person who asked it, I was like, "What would you do?" And they said the same. I said I might go for my own just because.
Yeah, but then
I feel like
it's your life. Come on.
I think if maybe if you can, I said to them, I said, if you can confirm that this person is sort of like, you know, disease free, like you're not going to get anything nothing's going to happen by eating it in terms of like, besides the flavor and everything, then like I might go for the pint, but like,
I just think get it done. Just get out of the way. You can move on with your life. Yeah.
I think it's smart thinking. That's fair. Well, I mean, what better way to end the podcast on than that? What better way? If you stuck around this long, congratulations, because you've heard.
Yeah, I don't know how I could top that question, if I'm honest. For the next,
you've got a bit of time to think, because I'll get yours after we finish recording. But we always end each podcast. So I've got to say before that, actually, sorry, Tom Scarborough, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, my pleasure. This has been a really fun chat.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. That means a lot. I'm glad, and like, yes, thank you so much for coming on. It's been genuinely, like, I obviously normally say it to wrestlers, but even for yourself, like as a referee, like, and to all refs, I think you guys deserve so much more credit. And yeah, it's just a pleasure watching you guys in the ring, because like, yeah, you do what you do so well, and the moments you're actually like involved physically in the action are a delight as well. Like, yeah,
I'm going to be sending Oscar to the merch table to collect tips just for myself. So
I think that's
if whoever's watching this, watch out for him at forthcoming shows.
Lovely. So you got to keep an eye on him though, just in case.
No one wants to keep an eye on that boy.
Brilliant. Well, Tom, we have a closing tradition here on the podcast where we always give our guests the final word. So for yourself, if anyone's at a show, you're refereeing, you're there in the ring, why is Tom Scarborough the best wrestling referee in the world?
Oh, that's not for me to answer. Why am I?
If you want, you can just sort of plug your upcoming stuff if you want.
Yeah, I think I'll do that instead, you know. So obviously this will come up after this, but this Saturday in Dublin for OTT, the 10-year anniversary featuring the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Judgment Day, of course. Sunday then in Progress, which we've spoken about. Saturday the 2nd of November is Hustle in Hackney Wick, which features Rain Leverkusen versus Tate Mayfairs for the Hustle Championship in a ladder match. So I think it's the third match in a trilogy. I think they're at one win apiece, so a ladder match makes sense. Thursday the 7th then is Ceasefire, of course, which is a great cause. Donate through all their socials. Sunday the 10th of November back at FPW. I'm having a really busy time. Like this kind of October's been a bit nice and quiet. September I was on holiday, so now this is kind of leading up into a much busier time. Saturday the 16th, Wolverhampton's Burning Heart. Mark Haskins, Leon Slade, Trent Seven, the Vets, Mark Andrews, Kenny Williams, Harley Hudson. I'm really excited for whatever Burning Heart's going to become. This is going to be our 4th show, I guess, because there was 3 on the tour, so this will be our 4th show. So, you know, who knows what that's going to go, but the talent on that is something else.
I'm stacked for them as well, like, especially running the same weekend as Resurgence and RevPro. Like, to run such a stacked card that weekend is mad.
Yeah, that's it. And then Sunday the 17th is Progress in Manchester, featuring the first ever Progress intergender singles match.
Yeah, incredible. Busy man.
That's it. I think I'm the best because through it all, I'll still be smiling.